Hello everyone, Galactic Pilgrim here with my too long didn't watch version of my completely ridiculously long fighter analysis. I've looked at the single-seater and single-seater plus turret dogfighters, which are all small ships you'd imagine fighting against other small ships in, so I haven't looked at big ships like the Freelancer, Cutlass, Constellation, etc. Basically, I quantified the relative agility and firepower of ships as well as their shield strength. There's no real values for health or armor yet, so I had to give that a miss. Firepower is how dangerous their weapons are, both missiles and guns, and is plotted from left to right. And agility is how maneuverable they are in terms of speed and turning, and is plotted from bottom to top. The shield score is written after the ship's name. 1 is the basic default fighter score, 2 is twice as good as that, and 3 is 3 times as good. Ships can be categorized as heavy, medium or light fighters. They could also be civilian fighters, and some of the civilian fighters are starter ships. Some ships have stealth capabilities, and they're marked with this icon. They are all the Sabres and the F-7CS Ghost. Some ships have EMP weaponry. They're marked with this icon and are the Vanguard Sentinel, Avenger Warlock, and Sabre Raven. Certain civilian ships have better agility and firepower than they have any right to have, but this is because they've sacrificed their durability to achieve this, and are therefore flagged with a red exclamation mark indicating that they have a vulnerable hull. These ships are the Buccaneer and the Defender. The starter ships are all pretty poor fighters, but that's okay because they're probably good at other stuff, and even if they're not, at least they're cheap. The civilian fighters form a trade-off line between some ships that are more agile and some that have better firepower. The Super Hornet, for example, is a very powerful but not very agile civilian fighter, while the 325A is an agile but not very powerful civilian fighter, and the Warlock has an EMP and the Ghost is stealthy. The civilian fighters aren't as dangerous as the military fighters, but they can often do other stuff as well, like trade or explore, which the military fighters are less suited to. The military ships form a neat trade-off line between high agility, low firepower ships like the Kautu Al and low agility, high firepower ships like the Vanguard Warden. With medium agility, medium firepower ships like the Scythe or Defender in between, but remember the Defender has a weak hull like the Buccaneer. The light fighters are up here and are high on agility but low on firepower compared to other military ships. They're also likely to be low on the durability side, especially the Buccaneer and the Defender. The medium fighters are the middle ground military ships with decent firepower and decent agility. I'll get back to why the Sabres are off the trade-off line in a little bit. The heavy fighters have very high firepower but low agility, and they're likely also to be very durable, especially the Vanguard's Warden and Sentinel. Some of the military ships are slightly off the agility-firepower trade-off line. That's because they have a secondary trade-off. They're paying the price of having slightly lower agility and or firepower scores in order to gain EMP and or stealth capabilities. Likewise, the Buccaneer and Defender are positively off the civilian trade-off line, but that's because they have their weaker hulls. There are a couple of gaps along the military line, but I think that they will be bridged by the Vandal Blade at the top left and the F8 Lightning at the bottom right when these ships enter the game. Finally, here's an overview of everything again. Now that you have a quantitative measure of how the ships differ in terms of firepower, agility and shields, you should be able to pick out which ship suits you best. If you want a dedicated fighter, then pick a ship from the military ship line, ranging from the most agile but least powerful Kautu Al to the most powerful but least agile Vanguard Warden, or anything in between. If you want a ship that is oriented towards combat, but is from the civilian market and may have other applications, then pick a ship from the civilian line. Remember, you can always get a ship with EMP and or stealth capabilities, but then you need to be slightly less powerful and or agile than other ships. If you just want a cheap ship, then go for one of the starters. See you in the verse!